In this episode of the Trophy Dash podcast, I get to talk to McGuire, Wolfe, and Jack Handlow. They share their experiencing of riding 3 laps of the Nashville 90 and then adding 40 miles to make it a solid 300. Stay tuned and see how they did it. All right. Trophy Dash is changing. I've been looking for an opportunity to expand this little podcast of mine, and you guys have given me something that really lines up with what I was looking for. I wanted it to be bigger than just like winning Little Five. I want it to be about really chasing dreams, chasing goals. A trophy can be anything, right? And what you guys did this last weekend blew me away. And I would like to talk about it with you and expand on it, because to me that was a big dream or a goal. Like, I don't know how you did it really. So what I'm talking about is I got on Strava maybe Saturday night or Sunday morning, and you guys did 300-mile ride. In fact, you did 3 laps of the Nashville 90, and that blew me away too. Like, everyone who comes through Bloomington who rides a bike has heard of the Nashville 90. Most people have done it. It's been written about in magazines. It's been talked about at bars. People have raced on it. They've done it backwards. I even did it at night once with headlamps and stuff. And people have joked over the years about doing 2 laps. I personally never have, but I've never heard anybody ever talk about doing 3 laps. So tell me about yourself. Tell me about who you guys are. Introduce yourself. Sort of, how old are you? Like, what are you into now? How long you been riding? Let's hear a little bit of backstory.
Go ahead, Jack.
Okay. Well, I'm Jack Handlow. I'm 21. I've been riding since 15. I got into it with the cycles. Norm Hughes, a biking wizard in Bloomington. He's been doing it for a really long time. I just got in to this cross-country biking trip through mutual friends. I thought it was crazy, so I signed up. And then, I did it a couple years, and Jake Richards got me into Little Five and tried to get me on Grego, which I did not do. And I joined the Black Key Bulls because of Norm Hughes.
I see.
So yeah, I just got cold feet, couldn't commit, but yeah, and then I joined Black Key Bulls. So yeah, I've loved it ever since. I'm about to start my 4th year on that, and yeah, I'm from Bloomington, and I love Bloomington. So yeah.
And Jack, so you've done the Nashville 90 before. I know your Little Five team, the Black Key Bulls. You guys do it a few times every year, right?
Yeah, actually, mainly that's what we do.
So
We have no variety.
do you remember the first time you did that ride?
Yes. Yeah, it was terrible.
Yeah.
Which, as it is for most people, because it's just like kind of out of left field. You don't expect 4,000 feet of elevation, and also, like, of course we had to push 20 miles per hour average, just crazy stuff like that. I was skipping poles, getting dropped on hills. Robert Strobel had to push me along. I was begging for stops. I might have cried. I mean, it was bad, but now, I can do 3 of them. So, and then only cry the same amount. So
the loud version of hazing, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, McGuire, what about you?
Hi, I'm McGuire Wolfe. Thanks for having us on, Jim.
Yes.
We appreciate it. And I'm 22. I've been racing bikes for about 2.5 years. And I joined BKB this last year after being on a different team that just didn't happen to quite work out. But yeah, I've loved being on BKB so far. So yeah.
And did you ride bikes since you were 15, or when did you get into bikes?
No, I really only started cycling about 2.5 years ago. Before that, it was primarily like tennis and some running. And but my mom used to do like triathlons and Ironman and such. So I kind of got into cycling through that and heard about Little Five and thought it'd be a cool opportunity while I was here at IU to, smash some bikes.
Where were you prior to college? Like, where did you go to high school?
Yeah, so I went to high school up here at Hamilton Southeastern, but my family, I primarily grew up in Pensacola, Florida, and that's where all my family is again now. So
Okay. All right. Well, who came up with this idea to do 3 laps? Like, tell me the birth of that.
yeah, so originally I believe it was Daniel Kang's idea.
Hmm.
One
One of
of
your
our
teammates on Black
Yeah,
Team.
one of our recent alumni and who was the president of RC last year. Um, love him to death, rest in peace. Um,
Mm.
he's graduated, so um, but yeah, he had the idea to sort of do a double Nash 90 as like kind of his last hurrah.
Hmm.
Just because like Jack mentioned, it's kind of a Black Key Bulls staple. We really love to do our Nash 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he had the idea for a double and
And then he bailed.
yeah, he bailed after the first lap.
Yeah.
Which he hadn't been, I mean, you graduate, you don't ride for like a month, you know how it is. But
Yeah.
um really what happened was one of our alumni had just completed a 300-mile mountain bike race, Jake Miller,
Hmm.
and we were kind of like, well, that's a crazy ride. Like, could we do something like that like in a day? Um
And I said no.
Okay, you
I
guys.
so it was originally we were set for 2 Nash 90s laps, which comes out to like 167, 168 miles. And
Yeah.
I was like, well, we're already going to be out there. Why don't we try and up the ante? Nobody I know of has done 3 Nash 90s. I haven't even thought about doing a 300-mile ride before. Why don't we go for it? And honestly, I wasn't like even convinced myself that we were going to be capable of going for it or that it would be realistic. But on the outside, I kept saying to Jack and everyone, like, we're doing 300. We're going to hit 300 because I kind of had to convince myself as well. And eventually I managed to trick Jack into joining me. And so, yeah, that's how it happened.
So Daniel King had an idea to do 2 laps as a kind of a farewell goodbye to Bloomington.
Mm-hmm.
Was it just going to be the 3 of you?
Uh, yeah,
Well, yeah, it was like gonna be like 4 or 5 people. And
yeah. Peyton
Zane,
was gonna join, just because he's roommates with Daniel, good friends.
and just like
Um,
a few other Black Key Bowl guys.
yeah,
But
and then um, I ended up thinking once I kind of had the idea that I wanted to go further, I started a group chat and started recruiting some other people like Carson Etner, Joe Ringer.
Other Little Five IU
Yeah,
riders, yeah.
just people I knew that were going to be around. And so we ended up having like 9 of us for the first lap, which helped a lot. But by the second lap, there was only 4. And then by the third lap, it was just me and Jack. So
Jack,
yeah.
Jack, when McGuire had this idea, like, what were your first thoughts?
I was like, you're crazy. No. And like McGuire didn't even get like food before mile 80. I was like, you're not gonna make it. Like, I think you're underestimating it. You're crazy. McGuire didn't want to stop for Subway. I was about ready to lose my mind at mile 60. And like
I didn't want to stop because I knew we were running out of daylight.
Yeah,
that's
already.
true. That's true. Yeah, so I mean, I just didn't think that there was a chance. But as we got more miles down, I was just thinking like, what, like we started before the sun rose, so we were already ahead of everything. We had so many miles down.
What time did you
And
roll out
my
of town?
6 a.m.
6 a.m. Okay.
Yeah. So I was just thinking, what other opportunity am I gonna get like this to maybe do 300? Like I just figured that there was a very small chance, and I figured that McGuire can also do 300, so at least I would have him to go with me on it. So, but we ended up losing so many people
Well,
at
yeah.
like mile 100 because of
I,
me.
all right, I got to put this out there. It is 100% Jack's fault that we lost so many people. At mile like 120, he goes for like a 10-minute, like 270-watt pull and just
Yeah,
shreds the group. And then one guy gets a flat and like 4 others left with him.
yeah. They're like, we're just gonna get a Uber XL,
Which
and they
I
just
don't blame them. Like, it was a great ride. We really appreciate them coming. But Jack absolutely put us in a coffin at mile 120. And that's when I was like, oh God, I don't think I can do this.
Yeah, morale was pretty low. But we had Joe. Shout out to Joe because he's
It ran.
awesome.
Yeah.
Really cool guy. Gave me his light that I still need to return to him. I'm gonna hit you up after this podcast, Joe. And yeah, they pulled us for a while. We did some pulling too, but they put in some monster pulls for us and really helped us on the second lap.
Yeah.
So
Him and
yeah.
Blake Kodlowski.
Oh yeah, Blake. So
He did what lap was he on? Second lap?
He did lap 2 with us and
yeah,
skipped.
only 2. So
Were they tracking you like on GPS or something, or like how
We just like sent him a text when we were near town.
okay. Oh, I'm curious, what was your longest ride prior to this weekend, each of you?
mine was 2:30.
2:30,
So
like on the cycles or something?
on to cycles, yeah. So
Wow, okay.
Jake Richards, he comes in again. He
Yeah.
did this with this crazy ride that Norm Hughes did back in his prime, from the tip of Colorado to like 1/3 of the way through Kansas. So extremely flat compared to this. A lot of headwinds though. But yeah, I did that when I was 16, and that was like a terrible ride. Definitely didn't hurt as much as this one. But yeah, that was the farthest that I'd done, and I really was just aiming for 250, but then we went for the gold. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and then for me, my previous longest ride was 157 miles. But I had done like some big weeks, like I had done a 500-mile week previously, so I thought it was possible. I just never done like all in one day.
So you roll out of town at 6 a.m., still dark. Like, when does the sun come up? Are you guys like heading towards Freetown?
Yeah, so honestly, it kind of came up once we got onto 446,
Okay.
which was pretty nice timing, but it was cold. Like
Yeah.
the first till like 11 a.m., it was pretty cold.
Yeah, everybody was frozen. Nobody like brought gloves. And
Yeah,
so our hands were just like numb for like
the
2
joints were
hours.
really tight for sure.
Yeah.
Did
But
you have a pace you wanted to ride that first lap or the start of it, like a certain watt per kilo or something, or how'd you control yourself?
Yeah, so I kind of put out in the group chat that I really wanted to sort of ride within our means on the first lap and negative split the second lap. So I didn't really set, I just said keep it zone 2 and keep the power the same on the flats as on the hills, because I knew the surging was what's going to destroy our legs later on. So yeah, that was kind of the pace for the first lap.
And did you not stop until Nashville? Did you skip Freetown?
We stopped at Freetown.
Yeah, okay.
Briefly, yeah.
Dollar General there.
Yeah, we got there 4 minutes after the Dollar General opened. So.
All right.
yeah, that was crucial. Yeah. Yeah, but Dollar General is such a lifesaver.
It's right on.
Bought a lot of Red Bulls from them.
Yeah. So, what's the actual distance of the Nashville 90? It's like 84 miles or something.
I think so.
Yeah, it's like 84 if you do Owl Creek, like 86 if you do Helmsburg.
Yeah. This ride was established well before accurate measurements, right? Someone probably drove in their car or something 50 years ago.
Hmm.
You
Yeah.
do the first lap, you text some friends, you're coming, you're getting close to town. Uh, do you guys stop for food or breakfast, or do you just keep rolling right out after that first lap?
Yeah, we did like a 15-minute break where anyone can just sort of do whatever they wanted, then meet back at gates. And I was kind of the one that held us up because my hydration pack like broke. So I had to like jerry rig it with Daniel's hydration pack. So that was pretty clutch.
So you actually rolled through town and went back to Sample Gates.
Hmm.
Yeah. I went home. I got a bunch of food. I made like a whole pot of something the night before. So I was all nutritioned up for the ride.
So you're still excited, you're still into it, both of you at this point?
Yeah, I mean, coming into
Yeah.
lap two, I was honestly the best I had felt the whole day. So
Mhm.
that was kind of what inspired us to keep moving.
Yeah, the weather's warming up, you're picking up some friends.
Yeah.
And then you go out for lap two. Are you letting other people do most of the polling there so you can kind of sit on, or what's your strategy to get past?
Actually, it was me and Blake that did all the polling.
Ah, okay.
And yeah, and we made everybody else. This is when that part when I pulled high watts for a
Mhm.
while. Everybody got tired. Big mistake in hindsight, but we just were trimming the fat. So it's okay.
You had to show off a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, so Blake comes in fresh and he's obviously very strong. So he's like, Jack, I'll pull out whatever you want. And then Jack just goes bananas on the front for no
Yeah.
reason. And honestly, Jack had been pulling a lot throughout the day. I'd been trying to be a bit more conservative, but like still rotating through when it was my turn. So yeah, we were trying to do like 15, 20-minute pulls.
Mhm.
Anything of note on the second lap? Any cramp?
Um,
It was fun. The second
It
lap
was
was.
it was really fun. Like if I
Yeah.
ended the ride after the second lap, I'd be like, wow, that was my longest ride and some of the most fun I've had on the bike.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean Joe and Blake just did some monster pulls, were really fun to talk to and kept the morale high. So yeah, the second
Mhm.
lap was by far my favorite.
And we were going fast, which was
You're
so
rolling.
good. The
Yeah,
first lap was painfully slow, honestly.
yeah,
So
we like upped. I forget what our mile per hour. I think it was like
17 and a half
17
on the
and a
first
half the first
on the
lap.
first one.
And then
Yeah.
I think it was like 18.7 on the second.
Yeah. So we were going a lot quicker.
Did you guys go up Owl Creek, or did you go up Lanham Ridge, or over to Helmsburg?
I did Helmsburg or yeah, I recommended we do Helmsburg to um keep
Less elevation.
the punches shorter and add the extra little miles because I knew we were going for it at that point.
Gotcha. Okay. So you were on between laps two and three, did you go back to the sample gates?
No,
No, we went
we
to
went
my
back to Jack's house.
I had to
Jackson.
charge my Garmin because yeah, so I needed a few extra percentage on it. And then yeah, me and McGuire, we ate some food here, maybe drank some coffee. Oh, got some Red Bulls at Kroger afterwards, and then got back to it. And I think it was what 6:30 when we left here.
Yeah, it was about
6:45.
6:30 after the second Nash 90. And honestly, sitting in Jack's house trying to eat food was I could not get anything down.
Mm.
It was hard to get going again.
What kept you going? What got you back out the door?
I think I kind of just like tricked myself. And would just
The Red Bulls.
the Red Bulls for sure. The Red Bulls were lifesavers. I'm not gonna lie there. But
Because we were like, let's go get this Red Bull. It's gonna be so awesome, and that's what kind of got me out the door, honestly. So
yeah,
yeah,
that and honestly having Jack there so that I could like, you know, sort of pretend to be pushing myself and be confident, or at least have someone else to do it with and be like, all right, Jack, let's go smash.
yeah,
And we saved
wait,
music for the third lap
Oh, okay.
because yeah, we knew um we knew we were going to need it and be in the pain cave and not really doing much small talk 200 miles in. So,
Yeah.
so yeah, music the third lap was honestly amazing.
Nothing needs to be said to each other after mile 180.
Yeah.
It's a pain.
So you guys roll out of town around 6:30. It gets dark at this time of year around 9.
Yeah.
So at
Yeah.
some point on the ride, the sun goes down. That's got to be a big moment emotionally. It gets colder. Were you prepared for that? And tell me about that when that happened.
I guess I'll go. No, to put it bluntly. I was not prepared for that at all. That was by far the hardest point in the ride. Because we got to Freetown before they closed at, or we got to Freetown before sunset, um, which was a great stop, but we could see the sun starting to go down, and we were like, okay, we got to get moving. But yeah, once it actually got dark and we had the headlamps on, and
We were in Nashville when it was totally dark, basically.
yeah, we got to Nashville or a little before when it was like really dark.
Yeah. They locked the door at the gas station after we got our stuff.
Yeah, we got there
really
at like
demoralizing.
We got there at like 9:57, which is like 3 minutes before they close. So that was super lucky. But yeah, so the mental fatigue of riding in the dark after you've already been on the bike for like 14 hours was intense. Like I enjoy a nice recovery beeline night ride. Like that's great, but I've never done something like this. I was not prepared mentally. The like focus required and like the toll of straining your eyes to see where you're going so you don't crash, so you know exactly where you. Luckily, we've done so many Nash 90s that it's just like we can do it with our eyes closed at this point.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, if it was like a route I wasn't familiar with, like it would have been brutal.
You wouldn't have known what's coming up.
Yeah.
Did you have moments of where you almost called for a ride? Like, was it ever in limbo there in Nashville?
I was thinking it, but I never said it,
Hmm.
basically.
I think by the time we got to Nashville, we were both very irritable.
Yeah, I was irrationally pissed off at McGuire. Honestly.
And I knew that was probably gonna happen just
Yeah.
based on what we'd been through. So I just did everything I could to like compartmentalize it and just be like, it's okay, Jack. We'll keep rolling. We'll be okay. Like,
but yeah, McGuire was in surprisingly a very good mood at 241, which is when we were at Nashville. So that really kept me level-headed because I was like, I had a short fuse. I was about ready to blow. I don't really know what could have happened if McGuire said the wrong thing, but he was so level-headed that it was hard to like, to be mad. So, I owe a lot to McGuire there for keeping me calm. So, yeah.
and I don't blame Jack at all for being that way. I just knew if I wanted us to finish this, I just needed to do everything I can to stay as calm as possible to get us through this ride.
Yeah. I remember McGuire was asking me questions and I was just like, I'm fine. And he was pulling. But I just yelled like, I'm fine at him like 3 times and then he stopped asking questions.
You guys took turns pulling, just sitting on each other's wheel. Yeah.
Yeah, we probably did 5 mile pulls or something. So, but we even though it was, at 240, we were still hauling ass. I want to say, I mean, like we were doing like 240 watts in the front. I mean, that's what I was doing. I don't know about McGuire, but like, I think we were clipping along at a good pace. We were making the average go up.
Yeah, I was really impressed with our legs the third lap. The mental toll was what was eating us alive there.
Yeah, but just like once you get warmed up, attitude changes for sure. And like getting a good pull in really just like changes everything once you get the blood moving, because I was shivering after Nashville, which is really brutal.
As soon as you leave
But
Nashville, you go right uphill.
Yeah,
yes, yeah.
that does not do any favors for your stomach.
Mm-mm.
What kind of food were you throwing in at Nashville there at 240 from the gas station?
Yeah, I guess so. I can talk about. I kind of the night before planned my nutrition in mind for the idea that I might go for 300. So I had like 8 bags in my hydro pack of maltodextrin and Gatorade mix, um, which comes out to like 60 grams of carbs per little baggie. So I just did everything in my power to make sure I was getting at least 60 grams of carbs per hour. But the toll of not eating solid food for most of the ride was kind of brutal on my GI.
Yeah, we were farting so much. It was crazy. I was just ripping them left and right. It was it
Yeah, it's
wasn't
not wrong.
good. But anyway, keep going, McGuire.
But yeah, so I think the only thing I could eat at that point was like potato chips because I just needed something salty and then just chug down as much liquid as I could.
Let's go back to Freetown. You went by there 3 times. Any chance the same worker was there all day long, or
We were
It was
hoping
different
for
people.
it. It was different people all 3 times, which honestly we were kind of disappointed with because we were like,
did anyone notice you like throughout the day? Like,
yeah, we had a
I don't
couple
think so.
people. I mean, they didn't really notice us like repeats, but we had a couple people be like, "Hey, what are you doing?" Like,
oh
you know,
yeah,
why you or like especially early in the morning, like, why are you guys all out so early and stuff?
Mhm.
that's a fair question.
Yeah. So I guess in Nashville though, it was the same woman at the gas station all 3 times, but um I think
Oh yeah, but she didn't even ask.
yeah, I don't think she was phased by it at all. And I think we
It
were
was
also
so
like
funny.
probably way too deep in the ground to like be having that sort of conversation at that point.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So you leave Nashville. You have 60 miles to go, but it's not. But Nashville is only like 20 miles or so from Bloomington. So
Yeah.
you get
So
back.
we
You get back to town. Like, what do you do to get an extra 40 or so?
so we where did we go? We went to my place, which was a huge mistake.
Oh
We
yeah.
never should have stopped biking. I needed a little more charge on my Garmin. So I had to get an extra 15%. We drank some water, had a little bit of food, and I I felt totally miserable when we went back out there. We also grabbed a couple jackets too, which was good.
What time was
Um, say what?
what time of day was it?
Oh, was it midnight?
I think it was probably midnight.
I think it
Midnight?
was right at midnight when we got to our place. It might have been like 12:10, but
How many miles
yeah,
do you have
so
left?
37.
37. Okay.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Let's take it
So
away.
we I was so mad, just irrationally, of course. And so we went to the highway, 446, our home, and we just started doing night ridge loops.
Hmm.
And we were like, this sucks. And so I get a call from Daniel Kang, and he's like, hey, we're gonna come cheer you on. And I was like, I don't even want that.
And I was like, no, I think we need that. Like, let's have them come out. Like, even it's like I even texted him separately, which I haven't told Jack. I was like, hey,
Oh,
we're in a very, very sensitive spot right now. So just like be very gentle with us.
yeah, which they
Mhm.
were,
Yeah,
which I
they
was
were super
happy
sponge.
about. I was ready to fight. So,
What they do is drive out in their car and cheer for you a few times.
uh-huh. Yeah. Well, actually, they offered to like get us food, which I was like, amen, amazing. Let me get a triple pub burger from Wendy's. Daniel provided. They got us like a root beer and fries too, I think, and McGuire crushed that. And then I guess we went to the stadium. We went to because my light died on my bike,
Okay.
the one that Joe gave me. We were totally blind. McGuire had a headlamp, which I don't hardly worked. I don't know, but
It worked for me, but it did not help Jack behind me at all.
yeah. So we went to the stadium because there was light there. Tried to get in a few miles, and then we're like, this sucks too. So we we were really sad, but once we got that food, we took a break on the curb. I ate my triple pub. He just healed my soul. And then we took a Bethel loop
Oh my.
as our victory lap. And Zane, one of our the Black Key Bull guys, he drove behind us with his headlights just because we didn't have any lights. And we did that, and it was good. And McGuire was doing 300 watts, and he was dropping me
Nice.
on the Bethel loop.
Legs came
I wanted it over so bad.
I don't
but
know what got
yes.
into McGuire, but he had some crazy legs at 290. Like,
So basically, yeah, we rolling back to B-Town. I'm like, Jack, why don't we just go straight to frontage? Like we can maybe stop at the gas station real quick and then go straight to frontage. Cause I was like, I'm trying to keep us moving. It's a good place to just crank out 37 miles real quick. There's like natural light or artificial light that's enough for us to feel decent. And Jack said, hell no.
that's true. I did.
And I was like,
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna argue with him, so I was like, okay, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But
I
yeah, so
forgot
we
about
do
that.
Night Ridge. I got really bored of that fast. Jack's light dies. We go start doing campus loops. We start doing stadium loops, and I'm like, I am going to go insane if I do another stadium loop. I need to get out on the road. So I was like, Jack, we're doing Bethel. And he really didn't want to come with me. He just wanted to keep doing stadium loops. I was like, no,
I love the
together
repetition.
for 280 something miles. You're coming with me. We're gonna finish this. I finally put my foot down. and yeah, so we did the Bethel loop, tooled around our separate ways for the last mile, and then we were done.
Wow.
Yeah.
Get end on your Garmin. Finally
Mhm.
got enough juice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was honestly really scared that I wasn't gonna feel happy about finishing it just because I was so mentally drained. And until I hit that 300 mark, I just screamed. Once I hit it, I just screamed. I was like, thank God I actually feel something and am happy about this in the moment. But yeah, so
And what time is it now when this happens? 3 in the morning or something?
2:45
two,
is when I got done.
yeah, about
He was done before
2:30
me.
for me.
But yeah.
Do you go to bed now and try to get some sleep, or are your legs still pedaling while you're trying to rest?
I the first thing I did was get on my kit because that was I'd been in the same kit for 20 something hours.
McGuire went streaking actually.
That's definitely didn't happen, but I did lay on my floor just for about 30 minutes. Honestly, I was depressed because it's 3 a.m. and you're not going to get any kudos then. So,
but you did though.
I got 6, which
you got quite a few.
Which wasn't bad. But yeah, so I went to McDonald's and just bought everything I could to eat because I was starving. After I mustered the energy to get off my floor, it was the sleep that night was terrible because your cortisol levels are so high still. We had chugged 6 Red Bulls throughout the day, and I don't drink caffeine really, so I'm just wired in the weirdest way. And Yeah, I think your body is just still in full like repair slash like fight or flight mode. So you're just not gonna get any good sleep.
No way. No.
Yeah, mine was terrible too. Same experience. I was like up multiple times. Um, and I worked the next day. So that was pretty
Yeah,
bad too.
I called off. I I was like, insane kudos to Jack for working the next day. I was like, there's no way in hell I'm getting up for work.
I
The
just have a hard time saying no. That's why you got me to do the ride with you.
Strava says that you guys took you almost 21 hours total.
Yep.
Moving time was about 16 hours and 40 minutes, and somewhere around 14,000 foot of climbing. You have different numbers for both you guys, but and an average speed of like 18 miles an hour. So that is cooking for all day. What you mentioned kudos. Like what did your peers think afterwards? What did people think you guys were nuts, or did you get a lot of how'd you do that? It caught my eye.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, mainly people just thought I was crazy. They were like, "How?" I mean, I guess they were just like, how did you do that?" They're always like, "I can barely bike 3 miles." They always do that, and yeah, I mean, people they just were in awe really, and just like super surprised that anybody could really do that, and with the elevation too, because they all mentioned they know it's so hilly out in Nashville. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, pretty similar. I was just kind of called crazy and insane. And I mean, like I guess everyone was like very shocked and congratulatory. My parents weren't exactly happy about the ordeal. um, at least I definitely stressed them out with how long I was riding because they ended up like staying up to make sure I finished.
Oh, I
But
didn't even tell my parents.
well, yeah, I was like, I knew if they saw on Strava I did 300 miles and didn't tell them I was prepping for that, they were not going to be very happy.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it really helped to have like sort of Daniel texting me throughout the day, sort of asking for updates, how we're feeling, giving us like a lot of encouragement. Same with the other guys we rode with. Everyone was super nice, super supportive. And yeah, I mean, it was a cool experience. Definitely the most kudos I've ever got on a ride. Which like sometimes that Strava clout gives you the extra push.
You guys are obviously friends, teammates. Like, what did this do for your, I guess, relationship or your friendship? And maybe now, and these kind of things pay dividends down the road, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we're always going to be talking about this day, me and
Mhm.
McGuire, because very few people have done this type of thing and, done it with somebody else. So, I mean, it definitely strengthened the bond that we got. And, yeah, it will pay dividends down the future. So, yeah.
Yeah, I guess for me, I made the joke to Jack that we're trauma bound now.
Yeah.
And I guess to sort of just yeah, briefly talk about what I think it means for us like going forward and for like BKB in general. Obviously, we didn't qual this last year. Um and that was really hard for us all to
Mhm.
digest. But honestly, race weekend was a fantastic experience. Like we really wanted to be out there, of course. That's during the race, that's all we were thinking the whole time. But we had like so many alumni still come down and we spent a lot of time with them because like we weren't there focused on like the race and getting locked in and such. We had a lot of time to sort of connect with everyone previously, and since it was my first year, I learned a lot more about the team and everyone involved. And I think it was a really rewarding experience that definitely, helped jumpstart us to do something like this. And I mean, I think everyone on that team on BKB really has that same fire in them right now, and we're really excited for next year. I think we're in a really good place right now and have a really good attitude about it all.
Fantastic. What does the rest of your summer have for you guys? Anything else of this nature planned or any other adventures?
Nothing like this, but probably races in July,
Okay.
maybe late June. So, but yeah, I want to get out there. I know McGuire's definitely got some races on the schedule. I think we're probably going to do some together, try to beat each other. So
You're
yeah.
not gonna beat me.
Okay. But
Um,
yeah, go ahead.
yeah, I was just gonna say we got some races lined up. Grace Williams actually texted me. It was like, "Hey, do you want to do another 300 later this summer? Like that would be an awesome experience." I was really jealous of it. I was like, I'm gonna need some time
Yeah.
to to sit on that, maybe mentally recover from the experience before I consider doing something like that again. But yeah, so I think that's where we're at.
Well, would you have any advice to anybody who's going into it and trying to do something like that again? Like, so what did you learn from it? Either emotionally, physically, prep wise?
Um,
Yeah.
go ahead, Zach. Sorry.
Food is the most important thing. You just got to keep the fuel reserves topped off, and also just like hydration. Can't can't go without water. It's nice to have two water bottles. I only had one the whole time because I'm stupid. But like, it's just like it's really good to have that gas in the tank. Can't underestimate it. And start extremely early.
Hmm.
So definitely you have to start before the sun comes up, because otherwise the end of the day is going to be the worst experience ever. So yeah.
Yeah, for me, I think I probably would have started about 2 hours earlier. Um, I think the mental toll of riding in the dark would have been a lot more manageable at the start. Um, I highly recommend getting at least like 60 grams of carbs per hour, like at the minimum. Like you just need to be putting as much fuel as you possibly can in your body, and just like don't even worry about anything else. And then also caffeine is like literally cheating. So just save it for
Yeah,
the
save it for
back
the
half.
end.
Same
Yeah.
with the back half. Same with music. Having music for the first time, like 12 hours into the ride, was like a magical experience. Um, and yeah, I mean, honestly, like I think anyone's really, I mean, I wasn't a good cyclist when I started. Anyone's really capable of this if you love the sport and you love the time you put into it. Um, that's the only reason I'm doing something like this. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a really rewarding experience, and you have a lot of time for self-reflection, and it feels really good to accomplish something this monumental. And I mean, it's something you can take into like every other aspect of your life. So it was a powerful experience for me for sure.
Oh, it's amazing. You guys should be proud of yourself for even thinking about doing it. And then, it's one of those rides where you have to commit to it because there's only one way around, right? So when you take
Yeah.
that left on the 58, like you're committing. And you guys did that 3 times and then a bunch of other stuff. That's impressive, especially
Yeah.
for like 22-year-old and a 21-year-old, sometimes that kind of mental strength takes a while to develop. So kudos to both of you guys. Thanks for sharing the story with me. And good luck.
Yeah,
Thank you so
our
much for having
pleasure.
us.
Of
Yeah,
course.
good luck the rest of the summer. I'll see you out there racing. And of course, I'll be cheering for you when Little 5 season starts back up and you guys get your team back on track.
Yeah, thank you very
Kevin.
much. We're really excited. So
Yeah.
it's going to be a great year.
All right. Thanks again, guys. Get
Yeah.
some sleep.
Yeah.
All right.
Absolutely.
Bye.
Have a good one.
Thank you, Jack. Thank you, McGuire. Just a fantastic story. And I'm just happy for both you guys to accomplish something so big like that. Good luck with everything.